What y'all got?
I guess to start off with, when you bring a guy like Lance Mason on, in terms of the learning process, where do you start? Do you have to kind of tweak things in terms of, you know, how you approach it because the time isn't as long?
Well, I think the really cool thing about Lance is, his maturity coming in, he was making a business decision. He knew the work that was going to be required of him. So we met pretty frequently. And when we were actually out on the road recruiting in the spring, Coach Ludwig and Coach Large, our grad assistant and our special teams coach, assistant tight ends coach, spent a lot of time with him just virtually while he was still finishing up school. Then we got here in the summer, we're really ready to rock and roll. But to me, the best thing is he's played a lot of football. So while we call stuff different names and different formations, there's nuance to the technique. He's been exposed to a lot. So he's been well trained in the past, and we're trying to just tighten some things up. But he's come along really well and worked his tail off to get where he is right now.
We've seen quite a few screens to your guys the last few days. It seems like that's been one of the main installs. Do you like the fact that you have an offense that's going to try to get your guys the ball intentionally like that? And then B, what's the biggest challenge for those guys on those plays?
Well, I think, it's a lot of fun. I think that you can see the guys fielding. I think you can see, because it is a new screen, it's a new play type for us, so there's a little bit of a learning curve, and we're doing it off a lot of different actions, and you can see the frustration when it doesn't go. But I think more than anything, it's an opportunity for us to put stress on the defense that, hey, this position that you have to mark, that you have to know about, that they can do a lot of different things in the vertical passing game, in the short passing game, whatever it may be. But there is certainly a learning curve. There's a lot of nuance to it, and we're trying to find the guys that we think can do that best. So you've seen a lot of people do it, some better than others, and trying to make sure we get the right folks doing the right jobs.
Along those lines, have you seen a different response from tight ends in recruiting when you're pitching this offense and just all the things they can do here?
Yeah, the best thing that we have is we're telling a story to these recruits about what they're going to experience when they get here. And I think as a tight end, as a recruit, that is a huge consideration, right? Tailbacks in every offense are going to get the football, right? Receivers in every offense are going to get the football. Tight ends aren't all created the same in certain offenses. So being able to take clips from practice and get on Zooms or just send in little videos from a laptop screen, I think is paying huge dividends and getting us in on some high-end guys.
With the role that the tight end room plays in this offense, especially with the physicality and the run game, how have you seen that physical aspect kind of progress as we get through fall?
I'll tell you, it's the thing. If I had to say, hey, what am I most proud of in this training camp so far? It's that there is belief in how we run the football, how we run off the football. And there's a lot of pride in their performance, because there's us, the offensive line, the quarterback, the running back, the receivers, all 11 are involved in this. And I think when you're one part of something, everybody working together, you've seen those guys play reckless, play physically, and I think we've seen that consistently for the first time since I've worked here. So I'm really proud of that.
Tucker was dealing with a high ankle sprain throughout the spring. He seems quite a bit healthier now. What have you seen just when he's able to go full go like this?
Confidence. Yeah. When you've got that nagging, lingering injury, it can weigh on you mentally. I think you saw that a little bit in spring. And that's mentally from pre-snap routine to doing the right job to being able to do the job really well. So we've got him cleaned up. Of course, he's got some bruises now, a couple days into training camp. But I'm as proud of Tuck as I've been, man. He has stepped up. Leadership isn't something that comes natural to him. And just his growth in that area and his ability to go out and make plays, that's why we do this. You see that growth and that progression is really cool.
I know Brett Steck has been in the system a year now. What do you need to see from him in year two? What do you hope to see?
Yeah, something you'll hear in this training camp from our coaches a lot is competitive maturity and that ability to understand that, hey, you're not working with the look team, right? You're working against the first and second team defense, and you're going to take your shots. You're going to lose some of these one-on-one battles, and just understanding that you can't get so down on yourself because he's a really, really competitive kid, but can get down on himself sometimes when he experiences that. But, really what we need to see from him is consistency day over day, play type to play type. We can't just get good at wide zone and not be able to run power or run this route and not be able to run that route. So just kind of creating the breadth of techniques and skills that he has, but really, really like where he's at right now.
I know live reps for true freshmen can be hard to come by this time of year, but when you look at a guy like Emmett Bork and just look at his body type and some of the things he's done in the one-on-ones, is he a guy that's maybe quietly exciting you for the future at all?
more than quietly. I mean, I'm very excited about where Emmett is. I hope he doesn't watch that. I don't want to conflate his ego too much there. But, Emmett, I'm really excited about where he's at. But I'm sure you guys, I know you don't know the intricacies of the offense, but you watch it, there's a lot going on out there. I mean, for a young guy, his just exposure to different football is going to take a little bit of time with the learning curve, but he's got all the tools we're looking for, and I'm very excited about where he can go.
Coach, is there, I talked about Mason earlier, anything that surprised you about him now that you've been able to get him in practice and actually work with him?
I'll tell you, when we went back into the portal and we had to go get one, his tape really jumped out at me again. Just, I think the first thing was when you pull up his career, there's a lot of plays there, which you really like when you're trying to evaluate somebody. But what you saw over those 3 years, and we tried to watch all of it, was, you saw a guy who got better year over year, and you could see his confidence growing. So I don't know if I was surprised by what we're seeing out here from him. But I'm certainly appreciative of how he's approached it, and he hasn't backed down. It's a big jump in, talent, right? The guys he's seen out there are a little bit different than what he's accustomed to, and he set his jaw and went to work and has produced at a high level so far.
So with someone like Tyler Jancy, new to the room, former linebacker.
I thought you'd appreciate Janzy over there.
with just how has his transition been, and especially, I know he worked in the backfield in high school, but
Yeah.
how is it now in the role that he's in?
Have you guys ever gotten to talk to Tyler Janzy?
I don't think
like he was a
here.
recruit.
He's a maniac. Okay? He's an absolute maniac. So, hey, I got to learn this brand new thing: offense, fullback. Everything he does is exactly to the standard of how we want our guys to do anything, right? And so he is, he'll wear us out with questions. He'll get himself prepared. We're putting him out there just because of, Zy Davis has a little bit of a knee issue right now. So with some of the 3 reps, he's getting some quote unquote tight end work. It's not exactly where we see him. But hey man, he's catching passes. He's throwing his stuff up in there on 2-back power. And boy, I really like having him in the room. And I think he's a guy that can help us there for sure.
And in terms of how you see him, you'd see him more as kind of a, Jackson Aker type, or is that too simple of a?
Probably a little too simple. I think Jackson Aker is, he got a lot of talent and a lot of stuff. And that's not to say Jancy's not very talented. He is, but I think when you think about his skill set, it's very much that more traditional fullback location. We're not going to move him around quite as much as you'll see Jackson, but they're certainly being trained at that same spot.
Coach, part of what your group is obviously doing is going up against this new defensive front, these
Yeah.
edges. How has that made your guys better?
Well, I tell you, we do a lot of different stuff. We're not just blocking outside linebackers and edge players. We also got on some of the wham plays and split flow stuff, you end up hitting some of them big boys. And pretty much, we start our meetings and you'll hear one of them be like, "Oh my God, Pert got me," or something like that. But it's the age-old adage, right? Iron sharpens iron, and those guys are killing it. They're doing a great job. Obviously, Coach Witt and Coach Mitch train those guys really well. And the fact that we get that, that exposure to that level of talent every day, how could you not get better?